Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, friends, guests, it's an enormous pleasure to be here with, I think, one of the greatest American politicians of his generation, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Let's have a... We're currently talking about the US presidential elections, who's going to be the Democratic candidate, who's going to be the Republican candidate. But I can remember, as many of you in this room can remember, when the Reverend first ran. Wasn't that inspirational? Yes. And without the Reverend, nothing that is happening today, least of all Barack Obama, who's a great guy, it couldn't happen. It couldn't have happened without the Reverend. One of the greatest politicians of his generation. He's here to support the work that you are doing. He's also here to advance his own agenda around economic issues and political issues. I mean, the Reverend is not just a politician, he's a human rights activist. He's concerned with international issues, concerned with working with the city. And the city is very relevant and important. We're just, you know, not very far from one of the greatest financial centres in the world. And what do they say? What do they say? They always say, watch the money, you know? And that's what we have to do, watch the money. So it's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to be in the presence of the Reverend and his team once more. And at this point, let me step back and introduce the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
I'm grateful to God to be here with you on this Lord's Day and you this day of remembrance. In the States, they call it Veterans Day. And I do want to thank Connie for hosting us. The idea of the church and racial justice is just what the church ought to be doing. I guess there are several angles of our interest. One is reconnecting our international family, overcoming our brokenness, our disconnection with reconnection. And so establishing a strong presence of Rainbow Push in Greater Britain, with Rainbow Push in the United States and South Africa, allows us to retrace the steps, as it were, to retrace the routes of the ships in this 200th anniversary of the abolition of slavery, slave trade, should I say, in this country. And so I want you to be a strong body of allies to be in our database, because we speak of globalization. People for whom we work are global companies, whether it is Toyota or whether it is McDonald's or whether it is the Citigroup, the Bank of England. They are global in their reach. We tend not to be global in our reach. Our relationships are much too casual. It should be more formal so that we learn from the best practices of what's happening on the different shores. So whether it is, again, whether it's automotive or whether it is IT or whether it's banking or whether it's fast food, we should have a sense that there's a body of us here who have international and intergenerational support to protect our cause. The second issue is that we left Chicago last night, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock your time, midnight. And, you know, 5.5 hours we've been in London. It takes about 6.5 hours to go from LA, New York to LA. About 6 to go from 6.5 to Paris, about 6.5 to Senegal. That's the New World Order. And if at either one of those airports there's a slowdown, it affects traffic in other parts of the world. So the forces that we fight today for racial justice and for inclusion, they are globally organized. And we should be globally organized and connected.